Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are doing something a little different. Usually, when we talk about AI, even the really advanced stuff we've covered, we're, fundamentally talking about a conversation. You open a browser, you type into a text box, the Oracle speaks back, and then it just stops.
Right. It's a transaction. You ask, it answers.
Yeah.
But the friction is still all on you to take that answer and, go do the actual work.
Exactly. It gives you the recipe, but you still have to cook the meal. But imagine if you could take that AI, rip it out of the browser, drop it directly into your computer's command line, and give it hands.
Hands is a great metaphor. We are moving from chat to agency, and that is a massive leap.
And that's what we're looking at, a tool called PSClaudeCode. It's a PowerShell implementation of an AI agent loop created by Doug Fink. When I say this is fresh, I mean the latest release dropped literally yesterday, January 22nd, 2026.
It is bleeding edge. And what makes this tool so interesting and, why we're dedicating a whole dive to it is that it represents this fundamental shift in the developer workflow. It's moving from help me write this code to here's a goal, go figure it out, and don't come back until it's done.
That is the mission for today. We're going to unpack how a standard command line transforms into an intelligent agent that plans, executes, and checks its own work. And the best part, the source material actually teaches you how to build one yourself.
It's surprisingly accessible. Yeah, it's not a black box. It's a blueprint.
So buckle up. We are going from chatbot to sci-fi terminal. Let's dive in.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so first things first. We need to define what PSClaudeCode actually is. Because to me, PowerShell implementation of an agent loop sounds like a lot of jargon salad.
It does sound heavy, but the concept is really elegant. At its core, PSClaudeCode is a PowerShell module. That means it's a tool you load into your existing Windows terminal, the same blue window people have used for decades. It connects your command line directly to Anthropic's Claude API.
So it's bridging the gap between my local machine and the brain in the cloud.
Exactly. But it's not just sending text back and forth. It's giving the AI permission to execute code in that terminal.
Okay, so I have PowerShell open. I've got this module loaded. I've got my API key set up. What is physically happening when I run this? How is it different from just using ChatGPT to write a script for me?
This is where the agent loop concept comes in, and this is the critical differentiator. Normally, if you ask an AI a question, it predicts the next word. It's a straight line. Input, output, stop. It has no idea if the code it gave you actually works. It just knows it looks like code.
Right. I can't tell you how many times I've pasted AI code into my terminal and just got a big wall of red error text.
Precisely. And in the old workflow, you'd have to copy that error, paste it back into the chat, and say, hey, you messed up. But an agent loop is circular. It automates that back and forth.
Walk me through that cycle.
So you give it a task. The AI assesses the situation. It decides, okay, to do this, I need to run this specific command. Then, and this is the key, it actually executes that command in your terminal. It pushes the button itself.
It's driving the car.
It's driving. Then it captures the output. Did it work? Did it error out? Did it get something it didn't expect? It takes that feedback, feeds it back into its own context, and decides what to do next. It keeps looping until the criteria for success are met.
So it's not just guessing. It's trying, observing, and correcting course. It feels like the difference between asking a consultant for advice versus hiring an intern to do the job.
That is the perfect analogy. The chatbot is the consultant, the agent is the intern. The intern might make mistakes, but they can see the error message and try a different approach without, bothering you. They have eyes on the problem.
Looking at the setup here, it seems ridiculously easy to get this running. You need PowerShell 5.1 or higher, which, let's be honest, you already have it.
Right. PowerShell is the glue of the Windows OS, so the infrastructure is already there. You just need an Anthropic API key.
You set the key, run import module, and you're pretty much done. The barrier to entry is almost zero.
And that's Doug Fink's style. He builds tools that lower the ladder for everyone else.
And the command is just invoke PSClaudeCode, or the alias IPC.
Short and sweet.
But the user experience is what caught my eye. You aren't writing code, you're writing a task in plain English. The example is literally list all PowerShell files in this directory.
Which sounds simple, but I want you to pause and think about what's happening there. You aren't telling it how to list the files. You aren't typing getChildItem-filter.ps1. You're stating intent.
Intent is the key word there.
It is. The agent translates intent into syntax, executes it, and confirms the result. It bridges that gap between human language and machine language dynamically.
It feels like we're finally getting to that Star Trek computer interaction.
Yeah.
Computer, scan for files,
We're getting closer. But where it gets really fascinating, and where I think the real value lies, is when you ask it to do something it doesn't explicitly know how to do, or something that takes multiple steps.
Yes. This is the part that blew my mind. The no built-in logic aspect. So there is a demo in the source material with Excel. And anyone in an office knows that Excel and automation usually means a headache.
Right. Usually involving complex macros or ancient VBA scripts. This is the in-action demo.
So the task is, read monthly CSV sales files and autonomously create a quarterly Excel workbook. Now, logically, you'd think the developer, Doug, pre-programmed a Make Quarterly Report button, right? Or at least gave it a template.
You would think so, but no, that's the magic. The agent has no built-in logic for CSVs. It has no built-in logic for Excel. It didn't come with a playbook for this specific task. It's starting from zero.
So walk me through how it pulls this off. If it doesn't know how to make an Excel file, how does the file get made?
The agent loop. The AI analyzes the request, make an Excel workbook. It realizes, okay, I need to manipulate Excel files. It then checks the available tools in your PowerShell environment. It effectively looks around the workshop.
It scans your installed modules.
Exactly. It figures out, oh, there's an import Excel module installed here. It then, on its own, constructs the syntax to use that module. It iterates through the CSV data. It calculates the quarters, which is a logic task, not a coding task, and generates the file.
It figures out the tools on the fly.
Yes. It's like a carpenter showing up to a job site without blueprints, looking at the pile of wood and saying, okay, I see a saw and a hammer. I can build a table with this.
That is wild. It's improvising.
Yeah.
But that also implies it has to understand the documentation of those tools, right? Or at least guess the syntax correctly.
It infers the syntax based on its training data, which includes millions of lines of PowerShell. And if it guesses wrong, the error message tells it how to fix it. If it tries to run export Excel and misses a parameter, PowerShell yells at it and the agent says, oops, let me try that again with the correct flag.
That feedback loop again, it's learning in real time.
Always the feedback loop. That is the engine of agency.
There's another example here that I think is even more practical for the IT crowd, the log analysis demo.
Oh, this is a classic sysadmin headache solver. Nobody likes parsing logs manually.
The task is, check the system log, save analysis to a markdown file in a specific temp directory, and specifically D-template analysis.
Specificity matters here. It's not just save it somewhere, it's save it here.
And there's screenshot evidence in the repo. You see the agent reading the raw log, just ugly text data spotting patterns, and then generating a structured report.
Yeah.
And again, no hard-coded instructions.
It's reading the text, understanding the structure semantically, meaning it knows what an error looks like versus a warning, and then using file system commands to create the directory because that directory didn't exist yet.
That's a small detail, but a big deal. It realized the directory was missing.
Right. A normal script would crash there, directory not found, error, stop. The agent sees directory not found, thinks, oops, I need to make that first, runs new item, and then writes the file. It handles the making of the folder and the writing of the file as separate steps in the loop.
It's doing the grunt work. It's anticipating the dependencies.
It is, and it's doing it accurately. If you look at the screenshot, it shows the agent iterating. It doesn't just guess and hope. It verifies.
This brings up a really cool point about this repository. It's not just a tool you download and use. It feels like a masterclass.
It is absolutely educational. Doug Finke didn't just give us the finished product. The repository includes a folder called Agent Evolution.
I love this. It's like seeing the baby pictures of the AI.
It is. It includes 3 standalone scripts, Agent V0, Agent V1, and Agent V2. They show you exactly how the sausage is made. And for anyone listening who wants to understand how these things actually work, this is gold.
So let's walk through these because I think it demystifies the buzzword. What is Agent V0?
Agent V0 is the command runner, the simplest version. You give it a request, like list files. It uses the API to suggest a command. It says, I think you should run get child item.
And then it asks you, run this, yes or no?
Exactly. It's a permission loop, but it's a single shot. It suggests you approve, it runs, end of story. It doesn't check if it worked. It's blind. It's basically a fancy autocomplete.
Okay, so that's the toddler phase. It needs you to hold its hand. Then we get to Agent V1.
The looping agent. This is where the autonomy kicks in. It can run commands iteratively. If the first command works, great. If it needs to do another one, it loops back.
So it has memory.
It has context. It remembers what it just did. But notice, in V1, it's still mostly parsing text. It's hallucinating strings of code and hoping the terminal accepts them. It works, but it can be brittle.
And that leads us to Agent V2.
The advanced agent. This introduces structured tools and function calling.
Break down function calling for us, because that's a term that gets thrown around a lot.
Sure, in the earlier versions, the AI is just saying, here is some text that looks like code. In V2, the AI is returning a structured data object. Think of it like filling out a form. It says, I want to use the read file tool, and for the path field, I am putting this specific string.
So it's not just babbling code, it's selecting a specific tool from a toolbox.
Exactly. It understands the concept of a tool distinct from just text. This makes it much less prone to syntax errors because it's adhering to a strict schema. It's like the difference between freehanding a drawing and using a stencil.
Why does this progression matter? Why include the old versions?
Because it strips away the magic. People hear AI agent and think it's some sentient ghost in the machine. These scripts show you that an agent is just a while loop with some permission structures. It's code. You can read it. You can understand it.
It makes it feel less like magic and more like engineering.
Precisely, and that's empowering. You can see the logic. While task is incomplete, keep trying. It's almost human persistence codified.
However, and there is always a but, giving an AI engineering control over your computer sounds, well, risky.
It is incredibly risky. Let's not sugarcoat it.
I mean, we're giving it hands, but what if it decides to clean up my hard drive by deleting everything?
That's the nightmare scenario. I solved the disk space problem, boss. The disk is now empty.
Right. Task failed successfully.
And that is why the safety rails are the most critical part of this tool. By default, it's paranoid.
Paranoid is good.
Paranoid is essential. If the agent wants to delete a file or run a command that modifies the system, it pauses. It pops up a prompt. I want to run this command. Is that okay? It waits for the human to say yes.
So you are the supervisor. It can't go rogue.
Correct. You are the human in the loop, the final authority. It can plan the heist, but you have to drive the getaway car.
However, I noticed a specific parameter that made me laugh out loud.
I know exactly which one you mean.
The YOLO switch. Dangerously skip permissions.
It is aptly named.
It really is dangerously. It's not hiding anything. It's not called auto mode. It's called danger.
It's a warning label built into the syntax. If you use this flag, you are removing the supervisor. You are telling the agent, I trust you completely, just go do it.
The example they give with this flag is terrifyingly funny. Delete all .tmp files in the current directory combined with dangerously skip permissions.
That is a high wire act.
If the agent misunderstands .tmp and thinks you meant all files and you skip permissions,
you are having a very bad day. You are restoring from backup, and you're explaining to your boss why the AI ate the database.
So why does it exist? Who is this for?
There is a legitimate use case. Think about sandboxes. If you're running this inside a disposable container, a VM that gets destroyed every night, you don't care if it deletes everything. You want speed.
Right. True automation requires trust, but verify first.
Always verify first, or at least verify the environment is disposable.
There's another technical feature here that points to the future of these agents: subagents and parallelism.
Yes. This is subtle but powerful. The tool lets you use the ampersand symbol and TM at the end of a task.
In PowerShell, that usually means run in background, right?
Exactly. It creates a background job. But in this context, it means you can spin up an agent to go do a long task like analyze this huge log file in the background while you continue to use your terminal for something else.
So I could have 3 different agents running 3 different tasks simultaneously.
Theoretically, yes. Parallel agent execution. Imagine a kitchen. Previously, you were the chef. Now you have 3 sous chefs. You tell one, chop the onions, another, watch the sauce, and you stand in the middle orchestrating it all.
That is, wow, that changes the workflow completely. Instead of waiting for the progress bar, you just dispatch another agent.
It scales your productivity. You become an orchestrator rather than a typist.
Now let's talk about the brain behind this. We mentioned Anthropic. What model are we actually running here?
By default, the tool is configured to use a very specific, high-powered model. The documentation lists it as Claude Sonnet 4520250929.
That is a very specific date string, September 29, 2025.
It is. In the world of LLMs, versions matter immensely. This Sonnet 4.5 is likely a balance of speed and reasoning. It's smart enough to handle the logic of the loop, but fast enough not to feel sluggish.
But you aren't stuck with it.
No, it's customizable. You can swap it out. The examples show using Claude 3.5 Sonnet 22.4.10.22 for lighter tasks.
Why would you downgrade? If I have the Ferrari, why drive the Civic?
Cost and speed. If you just want to summarize some text files, you don't need the heavy artillery. You can use a cheaper, faster model. It's like using a pocket calculator instead of a supercomputer. Also, sometimes the smarter models overthink simple tasks.
That makes sense. It's nice to have that option. It seems like Doug Fink is really building an ecosystem here. This isn't his only AI project, is it?
No, Doug has been pushing PowerShell native AI for a while. The documentation mentions Definkepsi and SciSuite, which is a unified interface for OpenAI and Anthropic.
So PSClaudeCode is really just the latest evolution of this broader trend.
It is. It's the culmination of trying to make AI a native citizen of the command line. Not a visitor, but a resident.
A resident with hands.
A resident with hands and tools.
So let's unpack the big picture here. We have a tool that takes plain text, figures out how to use tools it wasn't programmed for, and executes work on your local machine.
It means the barrier to entry for automation just collapsed.
Right.
Previously, if you wanted to automate that Excel report, you had to learn the import Excel module. You had to learn the syntax. You had to be a developer.
Now you just have to know how to ask for it.
You focus on the what, and the agent figures out the how. It's text to action.
It's empowering.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, does it make you a little nervous?
It raises an important question. If this agent can figure out how to use a public module like import Excel just by looking at it, what happens when we point it at internal business tools?
Oh, interesting.
What happens when you give it access to your messy internal documentation and your proprietary command line tools? If it can learn on the job, like an intern, the line between user and developer starts to blur. You aren't just using software anymore. You're directing an entity that writes the software for you in real time.
That is a provocative thought. We might be moving from coding to directing.
I think we are already there.
Yeah.
The syntax is becoming secondary to the strategy. The skill of the future isn't knowing where the semicolon goes. It's knowing how to describe the problem clearly enough that the agent can solve it.
That's a huge shift. Well, if you want to try your hand at directing, you know where to go. The repository is PSClaudeCode on GitHub. Even if you don't run it, I highly recommend reading that Agent V0 script. It's a revelation to see how simple the magic trick actually is.
Absolutely. Clone it, read it, understand it. Don't just trust the magic. See the wires.
That's all for today's deep dive into the future of the command line. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Stay curious.